This is Immigrants Making an Impact. Today, we are so excited to have Marisa on the call, and we are going to dive into her immigrant journey and all the great stuff. We also want to glean and learn. So please get your papers, your pens, and then let's enjoy together. Marisa, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. So I am Marisa from Brazil, living in Germany, an immigrant.
Cool. Tell us about your journey and how did you become an immigrant? We want to know.
Yeah. Okay, so the first time I became an immigrant was in 1998 when I was only 27. I went to the UK to learn English. It was my dream to learn the language. And so I decided to go to the UK and dive into a course and really learn the language. And I was able to actually stay in the UK for 7 years. And during these 7 years, I had my student visa. So I had like mini jobs or part-time jobs because we could work a little bit because of the visa. And it was very tough. Yeah. Because I had to work part-time, and then with my small salary, I should have to pay housing and food and everything, and course and school and everything. So it was my first experience as an immigrant. And that was from 1998 to the beginning of 2005. Then I went back to Brazil. At the time, I went back to Brazil and I stayed there for maybe 15, 17 years until I went back to London to a conference. And then in London, without expecting, I met a man who became my husband in 2020 in the middle of the pandemic. And he's from Germany. Yeah. So it was a hard decision then, but I had to decide if I wanted to fulfill my dream or give up, because I was at the age of 50 at the time. And I was super worried, to be honest, that how my 50 would be a problem for me immigrating to another country where I could not speak the language, because then I could speak English, but not German. I would have to start everything from zero. And in Brazil, I had kind of established professionally, and I had everything, my family, friends, my culture, and my everything. Then I said, okay, so I have two choices here. I give up on this dream of marrying this man, and going to Germany, or I stay in Brazil. So I decided to take the risk. We decided together. So we spoke about all the pros and cons, the possibilities and the challenges we would have. And then we decided we wanted to take the risk. So once we decided, actually, we were planning that I would come to Germany on May. In May 2020, but then we were stopped because of the pandemic. All the flights were canceled. So we had to kind of pause our plans at the time. And then I was always rearranging the flights, but I couldn't fly again because they were always canceling. And then my now husband was able to find a day for us to get married in Germany, which was September 11th, the day nobody wanted to get married. And then because of this, he sent me the document, and I was able to fly to Germany and get married, because of family reunion. Then I came to Germany at the end of August 2020, and we got married then in September. And I'm going to complete now 5 years in September this year in Germany as an immigrant. And then my fear was great because, as I said, I was 50 years old, and starting everything from zero at this age is not easy. Yeah. But I think it's more related to, we know the market is very, very challenging, but I think it's much more related to mindset. How open are we for adapting, for making changes, for integrating? And I think this was a crucial point. It was a very important point that made me actually overcome the challenges that I had. Yes, so I didn't care about my age because I am much younger inside. So I said, okay, let's go for it.
Exciting. Your journey is beautiful and it's loving to hear. And one of the core themes that we have on this platform is the power of choice. We have the power to choose. So I love how you chose at a very young age, 21 years, you said, to come to the UK to learn English.
Yeah.
And then proceed from there. And, it has been an adventure.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of lessons that we can learn. So we can wait.
Yeah, it's true. And I forget sometimes, for example, it's about a dream. Yes, because I was in London. I remember sometimes I didn't have money to buy food. And because I was a student, but I said, I'm not going to give up. And I remember that sometimes on my lunchtime, I just had money to buy a can of corn, and that was my lunch. I look back and said, wow, that was hard because I didn't have much money as I was a student. But I said, I'm going to pay the price because I do want to learn the language. So here I am. That's why I can talk to you.
Beautiful. I mean, it's wonderful. And just as you said, we want to dive into some of the challenges that win. So let's pause and reflect. Your
Mm-hmm.
journey as an immigrant.
Mm-hmm.
Share with us some of the lessons you have learned in the area of just as you said, learning the language, meeting people, integration, your career.
Mm.
We want to know.
Yeah. I think when we think about immigrating, it's very beautiful, it's very exciting. And we don't normally think about the hardships, yes, the challenges that we're going to have. Normally, we just think about the beautiful side of immigration. It's going to be perfect, which can be really nice, and we know that, but there are challenges. So I have had many challenges. I had many challenges, especially when I came, and I still have some challenges, yes. But I think challenges, they are part of our daily life. So it depends on how we want to face them and how we want to really deal with them, I would say. Yeah. So when I came to Germany, for example, one of the hardest things for me was really the culture because, for example, in Brazil, I think we are very similar in Brazil, Africa, or the Middle East because we are very family oriented. We are always together, partying and eating together. We talk a lot.
Mhm.
Then I come to a culture where people are super reserved. Yes, they don't talk much. They observe you. They look at you. They are
Mm.
not sure. And I remember that, for example, in some communities where I tried to enter, for example, people were like looking at me for 1 year without talking to me.
Mm.
Yes, and I was, wow, I just want to talk, but I couldn't. And then, for example, Brazilians, we hug, and people
Mm.
here know is maximum you shake hands. So I had to adapt and I had to understand. So in the beginning, I used to think that this is wrong. Yeah, oh, this is wrong. Sorry, my way is right. And then after I started changing my mindset and saying, no, 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 this is their culture. For
Mm.
them, this is correct. So it's different. So I have to learn and adapt. So I decided to change my behavior in terms of, for example, community, as I'm going to talk about communities now. In terms of community, I decided to change my behavior. They were observing me, and I decided to observe too. So as they approached me, I was trying to learn the way they approached. So I was always approaching them in the same way to make sure that I wouldn't pass my limit and I would also respect the way they wanted me to do. Because when we live in a new country, we have to understand the culture, respect, and adapt.
Mhm.
Yeah. And there is no integration without understanding how it works, how the culture works, how respecting and showing them that I respect you, I respect your culture, and I know my limits. So then once you start understanding, respecting, and showing them this, then they start opening to you. And then where is integration starts.
Mm.
Yes. So for me, it was very important to analyze this. So then people started learning also my way. And some people that never hugged started hugging me and opening. Yes. So now I can tell you that I have my community here and people accept me more as I am. So those people that want to hug me, I hug them. Those people that don't want, I just say, okay, that's fine. So in terms of community, it was important for me to observe, learn, and adapt.
Mm.
At home, for example, in the beginning at home, I had lots of challenges also because, you know, we were in love, we were together, but we had also lots of cultural differences. And this was like in a small things sometimes, this was very impactful. And so suddenly we started fighting because of these small things. So then we learned that for us to continue together, we would have to adapt also. So we decided to create a third culture inside of our homes.
Mm.
I am who I am my culture, you are who you are, you have your culture. So now together we need to have a different culture. Yeah, this is for you to survive, for your relationship to survive. So then, for example, the things that I used to think, okay, he's doing wrong. I said, no, that's the way he does. And he was doing the same for me. So slowly we were able to see, to realize that these differences were also rich and we could actually build something from it. Yeah. And then because of this, then our relationship started getting stronger, and we were able to adapt more. Then he came more times to Brazil, and he was able to learn also about my culture, my family, how we do in Brazil. And then he also adapted. In the beginning, it was very, very challenging. Yeah, in terms of family. And I missed my family, I missed my friends, I missed like the food from Brazil and everything. So slowly we had to make changes in order to adapt. Because for me, it was harder. Yes, for my husband, it was harder also, but he's in his country, his language, his people, his culture, everything. For me, everything was new.
Hmm.
So it was a big challenge. So I had to build everything again from zero. Yes, not only family, not only community, not only language. I am a very, very communicative person.
Mm.
I talk a lot. I can talk a lot. I love talking. I love being with people and talking. And then suddenly I was alone at home.
Mm.
And during the lockdown, I was like for months, we couldn't even go out for a walk sometimes after 9 p.m. in the evening. You remember that?
Hmm.
And for me, it was very painful because my husband was going to the office. Yeah. And I was staying alone all the time. And I didn't have a job here. The first year, I didn't have a job. So I had my job back in Brazil.
Hmm.
So what I did, I tried, because I was always alone, I tried to keep my time complete, like fully booked.
Mm.
So I went to school for 4 hours in the morning. I went to school from 8 to 12 or 12:30 in the morning. I got back home about 1:30, and I still had my job in Brazil. I had clients in Brazil. So
Hmm.
I never gave up that on them in the beginning. So then I came back home and I started working in Germany from 2 because of the time difference.
Hmm.
I started working here from 2 and stopped at midnight
Wow.
because I had clients in Brazil. So I was fully booked. My day was full from 6:30 in the morning to midnight because my mind had to be full. If I
Mm.
had like empty mind, this would be a disgrace for me. So I was always busy, keeping my mind busy, doing things, studying, working, and doing things in the house and trying to learn things. So this kept me, I would say, psychologically and emotionally healthy. Otherwise, I think I wouldn't have stayed. Then this was related to me, for example, and then professionally. Then I made a plan and I said, okay, I am 51, then I was already 51.
Hmm.
And I have to stay here and I have to learn the language, I have to adapt, I have to integrate. I cannot continue this job in Brazil, working until midnight, my husband going to bed alone. And so I have to start creating a transition. So I thought I'm going to find a mini job. I mean, the job here in Germany, you work only 10 hours, yes?
Hmm.
So I thought I need to find a mini job so I can start with a mini job and slowly letting go of my clients in Brazil.
Hmm.
And then I can maybe start working here. So I decided to participate. I was checking on Instagram and I decided to participate in an NGO that is for Brazilian ladies only. And then I did a course on how to improve your CV at the time. It's really interesting, sorry. And I did a course with this NGO. And in this group, one day, when one of the participants said, hey, I work for an NGO, which is a German NGO, and we help people especially from the Middle East at the time, especially from the Middle East, IT people, IT professionals. We help them to prepare their CVs and LinkedIn's, and we give them coaching sessions so they can come to Europe and find jobs here. And we need a person to work for 10 hours. And I
Wow.
said, hey, I am a career coach. I am from Brazil. I have experience in Brazil. I don't have here, but I only speak English. I don't speak German. And she said, no, no, no. You just need to speak English. So I decided to apply. After 2 days, I was hired. Yeah, to work 10 hours.
Wow.
Because I decided to try. So I was hired to work 10 hours and I completed now in January 3 years at this NGO. So I have been working with them for 3 years now. So slowly I was able to go from 10 hours to 15 hours to 20 hours to 25. And today I work fully, full time. I have 40 hours now with this NGO.
Hmm.
So, and slowly I was able to find my place. I continue learning the language, but in the NGO we speak mostly English. But I was able to find my place professionally. And then slowly, as I was increasing the number of hours in the NGO, I was letting go of my clients in Brazil. So today I'm completely full here and I don't have clients there anymore. So I planned my transition to make sure I wouldn't suffer much.
Hmm.
And I remember when I arrived here, I went to one of my colleagues from school, said to me, oh, there is a lady here from Brazil too. She can help you to find a job here in Germany. And I want to mention this because some people, they come to our lives to put us down.
Mm-hmm.
And we should never accept that. So I remember, and she's from my country, right? So I went to talk to her to see what kind of advice she could give me. And then she said to me, oh, I'm sorry, but you won't, with this age, you won't find any job in Germany. Yeah. And then she said to me, you are 50, you are only going to find a job if somebody recommends you, or if you speak a very good German, or if you are very expert in something. Otherwise, you are not going to find a job. I'm sorry to say that. And I said, okay, thank you very much for your advice. And I decided to go. So I can tell you that for 2-3 days, I think I was really feeling down and I was worried about what would happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
Then I said, okay, so let's ignore this and try to find a different way, because some people can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And they are going to try to show us that we have no chance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I'm here today to prove that it is possible. I'm going to be 55 this year. Yeah, I'm still working, still learning, still integrating, because integration never stops. When you live in a different country, integration never stops. You say, oh, I am already integrated. No, this never stops. Yeah, integration, I think, is a process until we die. If I stay here in Germany until I die, that's going to be until I die. And yes, and then I normally say to people, don't look around, don't look to one side or the other. You have your objective, you go for your objective. People are going to try to put you down. Do not accept this. So this happened to me, and I'm here today to prove this was wrong. Yes. And now in terms of career, I said career, family, community, I think I have covered, yes.
Brilliant. You have shared powerful wisdom. You have taught us how to observe, learn, and adapt. You talked about creating a third culture and how you still transitioned and then joined an NGO. Before that, you went in as a volunteer and then you were asked if you could join, and how you booked your day, your full day, packed
Yeah.
to work so that you didn't get your mind all over the place. It's brilliant. And thank you for sharing.
You're welcome. I mean, and I think it's really important for us to remember this, because in this process, normally we forget who we are. Yeah, especially when you are when you are an immigrant and you are in this process, we tend to judge ourselves, to question ourselves, to doubt ourselves. We have this feeling that we don't belong. Yes, and we are always going to have this feeling because it's not our country. So even if you adapt, you sometimes have this, I don't belong, but you do belong. This feeling is always going to be there. Yes, it's always going to be there. We just have to work this, because we are going to doubt ourselves. But you said, for example, learning comes from observing. Yeah. And integrating comes from learning. But the thing that we have to learn first is about ourselves, because many people don't know who they are. Many people don't know their potential. And if you don't know who you are going to doubt yourself when somebody doubts you. Yeah. So first, I need to make sure I know who I am. And this is self-development. If you know who you are, nobody is ever going to deceive you or make you doubt about yourself. And this is very important for all immigrants to remember. Yeah. People can say whatever they want about me. I know who I am. I know who I am. This is important.
Excellent. We have to know who we are so that people don't talk us out from who we are. And we have to know that we belong.
Exactly. Exactly. And this is our responsibility, nobody else's. Yeah.
Really on point. So let's talk about growth. So all that you are sharing today has come from learning, educating yourself, and doing all the necessary things to get to where you are. So as immigrants, share with us the need for growth and some of the things that you have done to grow to where you are now. I know you are still growing.
Yeah, that's correct. One thing that normally happens is that, especially when you come to a third world country, considered third world country, like Brazil, for example, or like Africa, yes, people doubt us. They do. Because we know that, I know also that our education is not the same level many times. And so it's normal for people who are highly educated sometimes doubt who we are and our knowledge. So even though we know who we are, many times we do have to prove others who we are. Yeah, especially when it comes to finding a job, for example. You have to show that you are good enough. So my suggestion is never stop learning. We should never stop learning. So this is long life learning, yes, that we say.
Mm-hmm.
Long life learning process. So we should never stop learning, especially because nowadays this is very important for every professional, for everybody, because with AI, so many things changing, we do have to continue updated. But when I talk about learning, first, I think about myself. This is important for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to develop, because for me, it's important to keep updated, to have my brain working all the times, to learn new things. When I learn new things, I can also share new things, and I can help people with new ideas, with new strategies. So I can always have something new and updated to have. So first, learn for yourself. Second, learn so you can share with others. Yeah. And when we continue learning, especially when you are in a different country, the more you learn, the more accepted you are, the more chances you have in the market. For example, in Germany, if you speak English, great, you can find positions. But if you speak German, you can become a team lead, for example. You can grow in your career. Yeah. In some segments, it's super easier. In others, a little bit more challenging. But if you continue learning, you have the chance to prove, especially with certifications. In Germany, certificates are very important. Yeah. You continue learning, you show the certifications, then people start respecting you more. Yeah. Not only because of your papers, but because of your knowledge, because you can share this knowledge. And I remember in the beginning, for example, I can give you this example because we speak a lot in Brazil. I remember that my team, mostly German, used to say to me that my communication skills were not good, so I had to improve this. And I was feeling really, what do they mean that my communication skills is not good? But actually, and for some time I was like judging myself under pressure, because anything that I wanted to say, I was always full of fear to say because your communication skills is not good. And then one day I said, you know what? It's not that my communication skills is not good. It's because it's not adapted to the way they communicate. Then I went to take some courses. I decided to take some courses to understand how or what is effective communication in the German culture. And that instead of judging myself and saying my communication skills is not good, I decided to say, no, my communication is not adapted. Yeah. Wow. Then I decided to take on courses to learn how to communicate with the Germans. What is important? What kind of information is relevant? If they ask me a question, I cannot flourish as I do in Brazil, for example. I talk to my friends about one topic, then I go to another, then I come back to this, and I go back to that. No, the Germans, they are like this. If they ask you this, you have to answer this. You don't flourish. So then I had to understand, and I stopped blaming myself for feeling guilty for not having good communication skills. And I said, nope, there is nothing wrong with me. I just have to adapt. Is also part of adapting, you see. So when we do this, we stop blaming ourselves. So that's why I think the learning is never ending. You have to continue learning, especially as an immigrant, because there are many aspects that sometimes we feel guilty, and we should never feel guilty. We just have to learn and adapt. Yeah. And if you don't learn, you can't understand. And if you can't understand, you cannot adapt and integrate. It's a process. Everything is linked. Everything is linked. And then I decided to change and say, okay, no problem with me. And from time to time, I ask for feedback. And my bosses, they always say to me, no, you have improved much, very much. So now I understand that, okay, so my communication is better. So when I am with Brazilians, I talk the way we talk in Brazil. When I am in Germany or talking to Germans, I talk the way they want me to talk. Yeah. So that's why I think, and this is for work, this is for community, this is for everything. So learning is a process of our lives that should never stop. Never. You can do online courses, read books, or for example, when I came also apart from working, I decided to continue studying in Brazil. So I did two courses. Once I finished when I arrived, Then I took another one, MBAs. I did two MBAs, right, during the pandemic. So I did one focus on neuroscience, so um, positive psychology and neuroscience. So I did because I wanted to understand more the mind, yeah, of the people and why people think like this and how to help people to get out of their boxes and expand their mindset. So I did two MBAs, one related to neuroscience and one related to positive psychology. So by doing this, by working, by doing German, by doing my MBAs, I was always doing something, and reading books and trying to learn more to make sure that I would never stop and I would integrate and I would survive better. And now, today I see that whatever I did, great, but I cannot stop. That's why I'm always doing something different and something new and updating. And I think all of us should do this for many reasons, to prove ourselves, because of ourselves, to continue learning, because it's important to be updated for the market, because the market is super quick nowadays. Yeah. So we have to follow. So we just can't stop. And I say, I am 55 with maybe a mindset and a heart of 35, and I don't want to stop. I just want to make sure that I continue learning till I die.
That is so sweet and good to hear. Thanks for the wonderful nuggets and wisdom you are sharing. And we would love to know more about the impacts, the difference you are making, if it's through your work, through your day-to-day, and what you are
Yeah,
doing in
at
the
work.
community.
Just to understand, I work in an NGO, which is a German NGO. It was founded about 7 years ago by a Brazilian and a German. Both are out of the NGO now because he's working in the US and she's working in another company in Berlin. Then two other ladies became responsible for this NGO. And what we do today is we work with international IT professionals. In the past, it was more like people from the Middle East, developers from the Middle East. But now we have lots of people from Africa, from Nigeria, from Ghana, from Rwanda, many people are from Africa, the Middle East, and India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, all of these regions. So we have lots of developers. And what we do, we offer trainings on CV. And we help them to improve their CVs for the local markets, for European markets, especially their LinkedIn's. We give them coaching sessions to prepare them for interviews, and we teach them how to apply better. We have a partnerships with GIZ. I think it's a company that also works in Nigeria. So we have some partnerships also in Nigeria. And we have another project that's to help ladies from Afghanistan. Because they cannot study anymore, right? The ladies from Afghanistan cannot study anymore because of the Taliban. So we also have some partners that help us to bring ladies that have concluded at least 2 years university in Afghanistan to Germany so they can finish their studies here. So basically that's what we do. So we have brought on the last 2 years 30 girls or 29 girls from Afghanistan who are now in university in Germany. So we help them through the whole process to leave Afghanistan, to come here to Germany and to start studying. And so what we do is basically this. We help lots of people who don't have jobs or are looking for better jobs or better lives to be prepared for the European market. And this lady from Afghanistan, which is another project, we help them also to come here to study. So how do I impact? What is my work? Apart from helping with CV and LinkedIn and application and interview, one of the things that I love the most, and I think this is really my mission, yes, I see that many people have no idea about their potential. I think this is a big problem because if you don't know your potential, if you cannot see your potential, because maybe you learned your whole life, you learned that you're supposed to subordinate to someone, you're supposed to accept because your country was colonized, yes, your country was colonized by another country, so you have to accept. And I see this in Brazil, for example. We have lots of people from Africa in the north of Brazil because Brazil, the only Brazilians are the indigenous, yes? All the rest of Brazil, we are all foreigners in Brazil. It's a big mixture. And in the north of Brazil, for example, there are lots of people from Africa who came to Brazil as slaves in the past, yeah? So sometimes I check our mindset in Brazil. We still have this mindset of slavery. We don't know our potential. Everything that's from outside is better. Everything that comes from outside is better. And sometimes we don't know who we are because everything from outside is better. So sometimes we still have this mindset so that we cannot look at ourselves and see our own potential. Everybody has potential, but people don't know this.
Mhm.
And my passion is to help people to see they have a potential. This is what I love because everybody has potential, but people don't know. So once you help somebody to open their eyes and to see who they are and understand who they are and understand that they have potential and they can achieve, wow, this is something that makes me crazy. Yeah, that's what I love. So I think that people need to see this. And I love doing this. So apart from taking care of CVs and LinkedIn's, when I talk to my fellows, I try to encourage them because I believe they can do it. I
Mm.
believe they can achieve. I believe they can really achieve their dreams. And I always say, do not give up. Do not give up. And I think this is, to be honest, I think it's one of my main missions on earth to help people to see their potential.
Wow,
Yeah.
Marisa, you are phenomenal. Thank you for sharing that. And
Oh,
I
thank
think
you.
that your mission is valid, and there are so many people
Yeah,
that needs that encouragement because people are so easily pulled down and then they call
yeah,
because of what someone said or what
yeah.
happened. So thank you. Share with us how one can make an impact.
Anyone can make an impact.
Mm,
Anyone can make an impact in big or small actions. Yes. So anything that you do to help others, you are making an impact, positive or negative. That's why we have to choose what kind of impact do I want to make by saying this or by doing this or by everything we do, everything we say is going to cause an impact.
mm-hmm.
So we need to decide what kind of impact, positive or negative, am I going to make here? So I think that when we know something that we see that somebody else doesn't know, we can share that, even if it's a small bit.
Mm,
Yeah. Maybe it's a knowledge, it's anything. So anything can be shared and anything can be impactful. And and I believe that everybody has something to share with someone else. Yeah. Sometimes ego or sometimes selfishness doesn't let us see these or doesn't let us make actions that can impact. But all of us, yeah, small actions can impact somebody's life. And I think this is also a decision. It's a decision. Yeah, especially nowadays in the world that we're living, anything can be done to anyone, and we can always cause an impact. It's a decision, and my suggestion is always go for the positive choices that you have because anything can be impactful. Yeah. For example, I can impact lives making a post on LinkedIn, for example, and the post that you saw. I can impact lives. I can impact lives sharing a story. I can impact life going to somebody's an old person and maybe visiting her one day. She's alone and I can bring a cake. Anything can be impactful, big or small. Yeah. And for example, yesterday I went to the supermarket, which is not a normal thing to be done here. I can say to you, I went to the supermarket and I bought a few pieces of things, and there was this lady behind me with two pieces of things. She was an old lady. And I said to her, please go first.
mm,
This is not typical here.
mm,
Yeah, because people don't care much. But I said, please go first. She had two small, this is an impact that I'm causing somebody's life. Something small.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she was older than me because I can consider myself an old lady. Also with 55 almost. But I said to her, please go first. Yeah. So even if you do small actions like this can impact somebody's life. Yeah. So it's a choice. Making an impact is a choice, positive or negative, just for us to conclude, and everybody can do it.
Wow, everybody can make an impact, whether big or small. If it's a
Yeah.
post, if it's helping someone out, if it is just allowing the person before you to go ahead of you at the supermarket. Because nowadays people are so much in a rush, they don't even care.
They don't even look, they don't see that you exist. People don't
Mhm.
see you.
They don't see you.
People don't see you. For example, I feel so sorry when I go sometimes to coffee shops and I see old people sitting alone having a coffee and eating cake. and nobody cares.
Nobody.
This disturbs me. This disturbs me. I feel bad
Mm.
because I see could be my father, could be my mother. And, this person has lived her life, long life, now to be drinking coffee alone. Yeah, so this disturbs me, to be honest.
Mm. Mm. Thank you
Yeah,
for
so
sharing that. So, Marisa, this is a very personal question, and
mhm,
I want to ask if you can
mhm.
answer. What would you do if you knew you could not fail?
I would still try. Yeah,
Mm.
because I think we all have failures. We all make failures all the time. Yes. So I don't like the word failure. I like the word lessons.
Mm.
Yeah. I think there is no failure. There are always lessons.
Mm.
So that's why we should always try.
Mhm.
We should always try, and we should believe, we should try, we should risk, because there is no failure. There are lessons. We are always learning lessons in our lives. So if I, but answering your question, maybe I would expand my mission. Maybe I would expand my mission of helping people to reach their goals and maybe reaching their full potential, I can say to you. If I could expand, I would work on a global scale, for example, to make career opportunities for all people, or possibility for all people to study, like these ladies from Afghanistan, for example. I would make this accessible for all, because there are many people that need, lots of people that need and have no chance. Yes. But even with failure as a possibility, I would take the steps. Yeah. Because I think that there is no growth without challenges.
Mm.
We can only grow when we have challenges. So no pain, no gain, no challenges, no growth, I would say. Yeah, we can still learn and we can still grow a lot when there are challenges on the way. So I would still try, I would still take the risk, and I would try to expand this to more people so they would also have more chances. Yeah, there is no failure. I don't believe in failures,
Thank you.
because even failures, if we call them failures, we can use them as a step to grow. We can use them as a step to move forward. Yeah, so no failures for me. They are lessons.
Insightful. No failures, lessons. And what would you do today to make tomorrow better?
I would continue encouraging people, because I think the most important thing on earth to me is people.
Mm.
Yeah. So I would continue encouraging people. I would continue trying to help them to find their potential. And I would encourage people to be good to each other, because I think that's how we can make a change. Yeah, I would encourage someone not to give up. Today, for example, one fellow from Africa, he sent me a message, just remembered, he sent me a message this morning saying that he's a data analyst and he's been applying for positions in Europe for a long time, and he's just getting rejections. And then I was thinking about him today, and I just sent him a message saying, hey, giving up is not a choice. You are never going to get anything if you give up. Yeah. So even if you get rejected, continue trying. The no's you have, you just need one yes. So
Mhm.
don't give up.
Mhm.
So this would be, I think, my message here. Don't give up. There is always a possibility.
Don't give up. There's always a possibility. And what
Mhm.
advice would you give to immigrants in general?
My advice for immigrants, try. Yeah, try. If your dream is to relocate, to go to another country, try. Measure all possibilities, all the pros and cons, check everything, create strategies, make a plan. Don't go just thinking everything's going to be wonderful, because that's not reality. So down to earth, keep down to earth, make your plan, keep down to earth. When you have the possibilities, you go. If you are now an immigrant, like me, then very important advice, I would say, learn the language, the local language. Don't forget who you are. Do courses to integrate. Become part of communities for you to get to know people. Respect the culture.
Mm.
Respect the culture. At home, you can have your own culture. But when you're outside, remember, you are in a different country. For you to be accepted, we do have to respect the culture. Yeah. then people are going to see this in us and they are going to accept. Of course, there are always going to be people that are going to hate us, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't care about them. I want to focus on the people that like me and the people who accept me. It's fine if people don't like me. It's their right. But remember, there are going to be people that are not going to like you, but there are going to be many people that are going to like you. Yes? Even when you try to connect with people and they reject you, ignore them. Focus on the people that are willing to give you a chance, on the people that are open to you, on the people that want to make friendship with you. Yeah, we are always going to have pros and cons. Focus on the pros. Ignore the cons. Ignore the people that don't care about you. Focus on your possibilities because it is possible. Challenges are going to be there, but it's fine. It's part of the process.
Hey, let's try and not give up. It's time to invite our community to come and support you. Are there any projects you are doing that you want us to know about?
The main projects that we are working at the moment is this project from Afghanistan. Mm-hmm. Yeah, in case you know people who would like to participate or to support us, normally we depend on people support to bring them because we cover all of their costs. Yeah. And to know more, I can even send you material for you to take a look if you are interested to read about this, or I can put you in contact with my bosses. So normally we need support, especially financial support to bring these girls. Yeah, because we cover all the costs from leaving Afghanistan. They have to go to Pakistan, get their visa there to come to Germany because in Afghanistan it's not possible. So we need support. If there is anybody hoping to support us, we are going to try to bring more girls this year. If there is any kind of support, sometimes the person can even be a coach because sometimes we receive like 1,000 applications or more, and we have to review all of them. So sometimes we need even volunteers, people who say, okay, I want to step as a volunteer just to help to filter because we cannot bring all of them. So from thousands, we have to select sometimes 10 or 20. So if even people who want to support somehow, they can reach to us and see and get involved somehow. Because as an NGO, that's how we survive also. And we try to help people with the resources that we have. Yeah, so if there is anything there, just let me know and I'll be happy to share.
Great. We have heard, and the support is going to come one way or the other.
Thank you very much.
Finally, as we are wrapping up, please complete the sentence for us. Immigrants are
brave change makers who bring new ideas, skills, and cultures, making societies stronger and more connected. They don't just find new homes, they build a better future for everyone. This is my final message, I would say.
So sweet, so inspiring, motivating. I think that this is a step to learning and reaching our full potential just by listening to this podcast and conversation. It's a step in the right direction. It's actually the first step. And I think the second step will be people contacting you to see how you can help them to reach their fullest potential. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
It's a pleasure.
Sharing your insightful and impactful story. Thank you.